How are y'all liking fall so far? I'm like Michelle earlier, I'm not real good at this, but I'm going to get up and tell you what we've been doing for the last few years. My name is Milann Guckian. I am the president of Preserve Our Hill Country Environment. Did I do it right? I did. We're an all-volunteer, citizen-driven organization fighting a state agency and a multi-billion-dollar corporation, David versus Goliath, if you will. For the last 6 years plus and counting, we have been in a legal battle with TCEQ and Vulcan Construction Materials out of Alabama, trying to stop a 1,500-acre APO, or a quarry, from going in atop the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone in Comal County. Our case is now pending review with the Texas Supreme Court. Thank you. It's very expensive, just to let y'all know. In 2019, a group of us in Comal County, including Mark Friesenhahn with Comal Environmental Education Coalition, Andrew Kim, who was with the Comal Independent School District at the time, and we met and discussed tactics for fighting back against the mostly unregulated APO industry that was having such a profound negative impact on our environment. We knew that we weren't the only ones in Texas fighting this largely uphill battle. We felt there was a need to reach out and unite like-minded organizations from across the state to communicate as one voice. So we reached out to HCA and Cliff Kaplan and asked them for their help to help us organize a statewide alliance, and Texas for Responsible Aggregate Mining was born. What is TRAM, you ask? TRAM is a statewide coalition of member groups seeking to work with lawmakers, state agencies, and good faith industry operators to create state standards for best management practices in the rapidly expanding aggregate production operation industry and adopt those standards into law. We found that this would create a healthier, safer, and more desirable communities and a more efficient APO industry that is aligned with the concerns of the communities in which they operate. We felt we needed to streamline the issues by focusing on the negative impacts of the APO industry and by addressing them in such a way that would result in equity for all the stakeholders involved. We narrowed down the impacts to 7 key issues: air particulate emissions, water use and availability, surface and groundwater contamination and flooding, rapid development of APOs without adequate regulatory oversight, which means there was no environmental impact assessments, mine planning and reclamation were not required, and we felt that they should be. Truck traffic, nuisance issues, economic impacts on property owners and the community. TRAM understands, this slide is really interesting. TRAM understands that Texas needs comprehensive APO regulations akin to what they call the Federal Surface Mining and Control Act, SMACRA, if you will, that applies to mining and almost everywhere else in the U.S. 86% of states have comprehensive regulations and they operate successfully and profitably. Why not in Texas? Over the last several decades, Texas leadership focused on business first, and economic priorities have led to a poor regulatory environment that has allowed unharnessed growth and irreparable and in some cases irreversible damage to our ecosystems and our communities. TRAM in action. So what has TRAM accomplished? We recognize that it will take years to change the attitudes in Texas. We need leadership and government agencies to understand that growing communities and businesses can thrive without exhausting our natural resources if done responsibly. TRAM knows changes that have to be taken at a legislative level, and we have been proactive. Our tech team provided essential research and data to the 87th legislators' House Interim Study on APO industry. Our legislative committee members have walked the halls of the Capitol and met with innumerable senators and representatives to educate them on our 7 key issues and offer suggestions for resolutions. We also provided input to the 88th Legislature's Sunset Advisory Commission's review of the TCQ, and because of that Sunset Review finding, Senate Bill 1397 was passed, and in the bill, TCQ was directed to develop and make accessible on the agency's internet website recommended best management practices, or BMPs, for APOs. With that being said, TRAM, in conjunction with industry lobbyists, has requested participation in TCQ's efforts to create BMPs for the industry. Also, we have been heavily involved in ongoing negotiations with industry representatives on proposed legislation for the upcoming 89th legislative session. TRAM members of numerous on-site visits and discussion with APO operators themselves. And we know the importance of expanding our voice, so we continue to reach out across Texas and grow the coalition, one grassroots organization at a time. Our members represent the interests of communities in 47 Texas counties who are struggling with the negative impacts of rapid, unregulated APO growth. These counties account for over 40% of the total population. And as we grow, we are exploring funding options and creating educational opportunities. Be sure to check out our Best Practices webinar series on our website, learn more about us on our website, or contact these two beautiful people with HCA. Thank you for being here, and thanks HCA for hosting this leadership, this informative and productive leadership summit. Thank you all.